Hey guys, welcome back. It's August 7th. Thursday, we're gonna view SPY 0-day options today I took on the small account challenge I'm working on. I missed some this morning, showed up a little late, like right about here, right about 10. So there was a little head and shoulder here that would have been nice to grab. I think if I would have caught it, I think I probably would have, because one reason is it didn't complete the cup here, which would have helped me see potential for the downside. Nice liquidity here, and it grabbed it on this candle, which also broke the purple. And yeah, where have I closed it? I'm not sure. Maybe on this candle. Just a nice big red candle. But today's one of those days that doesn't happen very often. I'd say, I think Eric said 20% of the time. I feel like maybe even less than that, where you just have a full-on trend day, and you basically, if you get the right direction in the morning, you could just open it up, fall asleep all day, and wake up and it's up 5,000%. Especially if they're out of the money. But it's not good to practice your trading based on these days, because these are less common. But the days they are, it's good to recognize it. I would say part of how you can recognize it is if it's a 30-minute move, if it's a larger time frame move happening intraday. So on the 1 minute time frame, as well as increased volume relatively from the last however many days. I guess today's volume isn't that much greater, it's just a little bit more than the last few days. I guess more so it's just this 30-minute move. Here's Eric's chart, SPY Day Trading on YouTube. Link for his Discord's in the description. So we gapped up this morning and kind of perfectly retest the top of his green channel here to make this nice head. We got a nice shoulder here for liquidity, a nice shoulder here and here. Our 5 and 20 day are down here, the moving averages. So gapped up, melted down, and then grabbed that shoulder. So that's our 30-minute move right there, grabbing that shoulder. And that gave it enough momentum to come down and retest 20 and then almost even 5. Then the end of day bounce. So the 30-minute move, sometimes you'll get the larger intraday moves, and those are kind of what you're looking for. Given we're still in kind of a bigger wedge on the 30-minute, but you can still get nice moves. And today was one of those days there wasn't a whole lot of retracement, really just small structure, very small structure building and continuation to the downside, but not a whole lot of retrace. So this is when charting and having the algos kind of locked in and precise can really help you, because without that, you're just there's not much there. Not a whole lot of like obvious structure to me that you could see. That's where these channels come into play. So yeah, I showed up here, and yeah, then I was basically looking for purple to build liquidity, and hopefully with a nice head and shoulder, which it never did a proper big one or even retest the top. Look at this. You look, see how it didn't get tested all day till the end of day. And then that's the clue for end of day's move. Yeah. But yeah, so it came down, built liquidity here, purple, and at that point I think I had gold, I had green, not too many that I had today. This white one, which I didn't really see anymore, so I'm wondering if this wasn't really a real one. They have this steeper one down here too, the upside, and then this steeper green right here. This one, yeah, I mean, again, ideally, like, nice build this shoulder, comes way up here, retests kind of this low, top of this, you get a nice head, and then you can just take a short, and then this is going to be your stop, at least until it starts falling and grabbing that liquidity. Something like that would be nice. But today was just a little retrace, and that's when you just have to kind of send it and trust your channels. It helps to have the precision downside ones. However, some of the selling was not in this steepest green one. It was in kind of, didn't really chart it, but this kind of more mellow one. Maybe I did have this at one point. So it's hard to really trade it in a lot of this area. But anyways, where you could have taken it here would be on this break. However, then you have it kind of breaking back up and retesting. So that's why it's a little tricky. It's one of those days where I just have a hard time. IV was a little bit higher also, which I don't do as well in. And then when it's a trend day where it's just not having big retracements, and then also it's not making that clear of structure. Yeah, it's a little tricky. And Yeah, so it did retrace. I mean, you see retrace here and turn that support into resistance, which actually Eric and Emperor didn't even have this angle, which I think this was totally legit. I mean, it was definitely finding support on it going down, and then up here is definitely resistance. So I think that one was right. But yeah, so you could have gotten puts here. On the stop on that, it's kind of a wide range to me. I guess you could have gotten on the retrace of here and just had yellow beer stop, but I really didn't like that. And then this move isn't like that great. The kind of big choppy candles to really not move very far. So then you have this gold or whatever, this yellow kind of tapering. To me, that's tapering. And you didn't really have a move I'd say would be like a good one where liquidity was built for enough time for it to have a bigger move down until right here. And right here, you have it being built. Let me just actually jump in our first trade. I am red today, unfortunately. Here are my trades. First one. So I had, since the IV was higher, I was trying to have higher delta, which makes sense. There's less to decay, but I think when the IV's high, it's not decay that's necessarily getting me. I'm not sure exactly. It might be. But the thing with a higher delta is it's more expensive, so my mistakes are magnified, because instead of, if it's a 20% drawdown before I close it or whatever, if it's a, if it's a $100 contract instead of like a $50 contract, okay, I'm losing more money. So that's kind of the tricky part with that. I just gotta trade less and be more careful, and I think higher IV days, over 20% for sure. So first one's at 1056. I got one put. So I did try and catch it in here. Yeah. Okay, so this was for a retrace. This line was a little bit different. Yeah, so this was actually a chase trade. So it had broken out of the tapering. So if it was in a channel and then it breaks out into a more aggressive channel in the same direction, it's kind of a chase and looking for a retrace. So actually that one was because of Emperor's chart, I think. He maybe changed it since now or since then. Yeah, it's been adjusted. Dang. Wow, that's all different. Anyways, he had a tapering that was a little bit higher than mine. It was like a little flatter, and so this showed that it broke it, and this was the retest, and that was what I was going for, was a chase on basically breaking out of that. Since it didn't have big structure to the upside, building a lot of liquidity, I thought this could have been one of those days where it just broke this kind of tapering channel, and you never really saw the volume. Like, we saw one candle there with volume, but I'm pretty sure that was my theory on that. And problem was, yeah, it was bigger size, so $80 into 61, so that's a rough first red trade on the day. Next one was at 1117. I got calls, and today I had two green trades that I let go red or break even, and we're gonna review them right now. So this was a retracement trade, zone of mutual interest trade, whatever you want to call it. So again, it kept grinding down on this gold. What time is this at? Yeah, 11:15. So at 11:15 on the 30-minute, we're also on this support right here. So yes, we did grab that shoulder, but we very well could have bounced on this support and made a little like nested head and shoulder, or just bounce that support and maybe even come all the way back up here to the top. Not to say that that's the only way to trade. That's one of the reasons why I was thinking that could be a low, and we should get some kind of bounce potentially. And then these candles, the way they were pretty volatile. The volume doesn't look increased, but these were, you kind of tell this was something. And I don't normally trade these, but I thought I haven't really caught any of them move down, and there's going to be a retrace trade somewhere in here, and I should look for it and not just be complacent. And so I grabbed it there, and these actually went I think they went 30%, and I didn't take any profit on it, unfortunately, and I actually closed it red. 1117, 1126. So for this, it's like I don't really know where to close it. So when it was up here, it was like 25, I think 25 or 30%. I should have done a break-even stop on it. I actually walked away and had to take care of something, and then it came down. Once it broke this, I was like, all right, I'm gonna get out. So I got out here. Yeah, I got out on this one from 49 cents to 45 cents. If this was an actual like proper retracement and not one of these grind days, I would expect, I guess it did kind of retest here, but really, I mean, almost retest up here. Maybe not completing that cup, but sometimes it could. Like a VWAP retest, test the top of the yellow. I mean, it would have been a nice retracement if it happened, but, and I guess I could have stopped. Well, I should have done a break-even stop on this one. Yeah, but that wasn't a huge loss, really. That was pretty small. It's $4. Because yeah, I was up pretty good on that one. I got a pretty nice entry, and I was happy with myself actually that I took it, because normally I'm fumbling around on those retracements because it just starts going. And I'm like, I should get in for this retrace, and you know, engulfing candle is one of the signs. Increased volume, this kind of flattening shoulder, and then it just looked like an inverse head, and then it started to grab it. It was starting to grab it on this candle. So yeah, happy I got into that one, even though it ended up being a red one. And then 331. Oh wow. Okay, yeah, 331. I bought two. Okay, I bought 2 calls at 331. So before we get to that, so I missed that retracement trade. It broke purple, but it's just down to still grinding down on this. Not a whole lot of liquidity built. You know, when you have a bigger head, you have more push typically to go down further. So that's why I'm kind of looking for that, not these little tiny structures. This little shoulder, little head, and just kind of grinding through here. This is all pretty ugly. Until we've broken this purple and still in this gold. And then it starts to flip this purple into resistance, which can be an entry for puts on resistance. However, for me, I would have probably only taken it if it had come all the way to here to this yellow, because then that could have been my stop. At this point, I mean, I could have keep grinding up that, and so that would just destroy 0-day contracts. And there's no structure. If there was nice structure here, like if it came up here, or if it did this, and then it even, I don't know, broke the purple and retested that, then I also would have taken it, just because that's a clear stop. But for me, in this kind of no man's land, I did end up putting another yellow one here, but that doesn't really mean much in the middle of the zone for me. It is still a head and shoulder, because you got a shoulder here, the head's just larger and choppy and not pretty. So, the one way you could have entered it, of course you can enter on the resistance, but then you're entering here, where you're closing, it's coming back up here retesting, you're down 15% there, down 30% here. One idea is just closing once you have, or opening once you have volume, little increase in volume, and or break of this kind of low right here, which could be a shoulder. Either way, it's liquidity. And then also if you do have a steeper precision, it's kind of staying in, that could be your stop. But for me, I would say probably entering on this candle after it's broken, and then that would be my stop right above it, just if it's going to grab that and it's going to bounce on purple. But in this case, it didn't bounce on purple, it held on that green, grabbed that shoulder. Another entry could be on the break of this purple, but it's, without seeing all that, it's, I mean, yeah, the risk, for some reason I was thinking the risk reward for here is not that great. I maybe would have closed it low a day, which isn't good. I think these candles are moving pretty fast, so it was just kind of like, I don't want to just chase this, jump in. But looking at it now, like this was actually a pretty big move. The move started getting larger because our range was just spreading out. So that was 631.40 to 630.35. So yeah, that was over a point. So that's plenty good to take. Really, half a point is all I need. So that was a nice trade that I wish I would have gotten, but yeah, to me, I would like to get it on the resistance and not on this break. So after that trade, you do have this pretty gnarly bounce. And so this was basically the best retracement trade right here. Better than this one, of course. This would be just getting him on support, I guess would be the theory. You know where your stop is, and then also that this was easy down, easy up, which sometimes is the case. And it did not fail there. Definitely climbed all the way back up there, but Yeah, either one of these, it's not a whole lot of problem. I was kind of waiting with my small account. I kind of need. I don't need to, but kind of just going after the 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 good moves on the day. Sometimes there's only one, sometimes there's none. But you know, that big move where it's like the obvious big setup that happens at least once a day, typically. This was a good one. Not very obvious, but still a good one. This one would have been good, which I missed. And then the last one's right here. So this final 30-minute move. And my last move was 333. I got 2 calls because they were cheap enough. Sorry, 331. I got 2 calls. End of day moves. Problem with it is it's just moving so much to have a certain stop on it. It's kind of tricky. If you're not doing it with prior profits from the day, you might be too quick to close. That's why you kind of call them lottos. You just kind of open it and wait for almost end of day, or wait for your profit target, and then just you don't even have a stop on them. You just let them go to worthless. Problem with my small account is that's not really an option unless I have prior profits, maybe, for me to want to hold, you know, that big of a position. Since I'm not trading 1% of my account or 2%, which would be more typical. I'm trading like, you know, each trade's 10 or 20% of the whole account. So that doesn't really, when you have it kind of choppy on the way up, it doesn't work. Sometimes the 30-minute move, like you'll get it here and it'll just do these candles over here, right here, and it'll come up here and sit up here for the next 15 minutes just chopping. Today it really happened in the last like 2 minutes, so a little difficult to hold that. However, it still was a very credible play, and that's what I was thinking. I wanted VWAP, so 331. Yeah, I got 2 calls. So finally broke this gold. However, I did put then this blue one, which was kind of another tapering channel, and it didn't end up respecting that. A little bit on the upside, I guess, but you just had it as a support, so I was wondering. But yeah, so it broke the gold here, and then kind of retested it there. It's kind of hard to see, there's a lot of lines. So broke it here, kind of retested, broke back in, but really I was then kind of wondering if it was going to break this blue one up here, since I thought that could be resistance also. And again, we're in a wedge right there, so not again, that's the first time I've said that, but it could have very easily just gone to the downside. So then I'm waiting for a break here to grab puts to continue this down this channel. But to the upside, part of the reason I saw the upside was this cup, and I wasn't quite sure if it had completed because this wasn't quite all the way up. So, but I wasn't trying to have a bias either way. Basically, whichever way it went, and I'd go with it. So I guess you could say the cup really completed like here more, but really I was looking at it here. Build liquidity on that gold, which is actually a pretty good sign for bulls, because to me this is a bullish building, just building it all day. I mean, I guess it's bearish, but I don't know which it is, honestly. But it is trending down that channel, and the fact that it was doing it and then it broke it and then flipped it into support. Yeah, that's where you have your signal. So yeah, holding through here. The first, let's see, 331 was right. 331. Yeah, so that's on this candle. I got on a little bit of a retest, so full body candle, nice volume. It looked good. I'm like, okay, broke it, nice volume. Trying to be patient. Had a little red candle that retested, to me at least. I put in my white channel. I'm like, all right, I want this thing just to rip. I've got 2 of them. My first one, I'm just gonna be very tight on, and I'm gonna close it once it breaks this white. And it looked like it had velocity to just rip. It didn't. It chilled there above there, unfortunately. If this wasn't the last 10 minutes, well, actually, I don't know. But anyways, it broke there, and that's why I closed that first one. If I'd caught this candle, it was like 30% just on this candle, which is kind of crazy. Let's see, 630.55, 630.90. Yeah, that's almost half a point, and a half a point that late in the day in the last 30 minutes, you're going to get, I don't know, 30, 40, 50%. So my execution here was just pretty poor, because I didn't just want to close the first one right here, even though it was a nice volatile candle, just because I'm like, well, I want to hold them both to VWAP. So that's where this end of day strategy is just a little tricky with a small account. Anyway, so I closed it here. Was it there? Yeah. No, on this candle. So it had broken it, and it was kind of chilling. Ended up only being a few bucks. 29 to 32. If I'd closed that on that volatility candle, I probably would break even. Just on that one alone, because I think that was up at like 45 bucks. Anyways, and then the next one I was like, okay, I'm gonna put a break even on it. I think I put a break even stop on this one. And it came down here and was like dancing around right near my break even. I'm like, oh shoot. I mean, I thought it could come back down and retest this and find this as support before it ripped, and I did not want to hold through all that, as this thing had already gone. Because then this candle too, I could have closed on, which was another big volatility candle, which this one was like 60 or 70%. And yeah, I guess I needed a plan before. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, I didn't close on that one, and then ended up just stopping out on it right here on this red, which, you know, I was kind of like, should I just cancel the stop? But I didn't want to start slipping into bad trading and just holding and hoping pretty much, because at this point it's just you're kind of just sending it, and that's why you do with a smaller amount, do with prior profits, and treat it as a lotto. But I'm trying to still kind of have the risk management on it, which proved a little difficult. The final 10 minutes. So actually, yeah, so then I was out of buying power. That was my last trade on the small account. So only down a little bit. I was down more, clawed back a little bit. Yeah. And then actually I jumped back in on the big account because I still wanted this move up. I didn't get a good entry. I entered like up here, but I just was like, I'm pretty sure this thing's gonna keep going. Like we're above this. It's just kind of dancing around. Those I think I stopped out of also because I didn't want them as lottos. I just was expecting a better move up, and it ended up doing this little whoop-de-whoop for the 5-minute move, because the 10-minute didn't do anything. It just gave me this ugly candle. I think that's actually when I closed them. Yeah, I broke this white, closed below it, and I think that's when I closed my big account ones. So it was tricky because the final move was in the last like really 2-3 minutes. So in this move though, these contracts went it went crazy. 196. So here's on the small account, which I opened at 20, I can't remember. Here's where I closed at 28 cents and went up to 2 bucks. So what is that, like 200%? Let's see, 20. Oh no, that's 1,000%, I think. I don't know. I'm not gonna do the math. So yeah, like maybe one having it as a lotto, and that's why I wanted to open 2. I'm like, well, but anyways, that's the way it is at the end of the day sometimes. I guess I'm happy I didn't just hold and hope, because those could have just decayed, and then this account would have been down much greater. So that's my analysis today, guys. Grind day down. Gotta find your entries and just be very patient for them. The steeper precision algos definitely help on days like today. Yeah, and now on the 30-minute, we've got Friday tomorrow, so we're still in this wedge. We've got 5 and 20 below us. I don't know what we'll do, but I doubt we're gonna break out of this wedge tomorrow. But we'll see. Maybe it'll be news. Sub up, like up, comment down. Happy money sticks around. See you tomorrow. Peace out.